One thing I have now, guys, which I'm very grateful for, is hindsight. Once you've been through a transformational period of being the old version of you and coming to the new version of you and achieving new levels of results, you gain a different perspective on everything, and that's hindsight. And one thing I want to speak to you guys about today, now I have that. And I'm not just speaking from a textbook. I'm not just saying things because I've heard they're correct. I'm actually observing and looking back from a different lens, experience, wisdom. I don't think men really realize how different a version of themselves they have to become in order to get their goals. You know, all of you guys watching this video are gonna have big goals. We all biologically do. We are men. We have testosterone. We are fulfilled from growth. We have our conscience inside of us telling us where we can go. And unfortunately, that's another video in itself, but that's getting blurred out a little bit because the media, the propaganda, they're trying to just feed and destroy your mind and make it a blurry place, and the food system and all of this stuff is actually, with all these bad habits, it's making it hard for men to actually hear their conscience in the first place. But like I said, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. But we've all got big goals. And I think too many men fall in the trap of thinking that they can just have such minor differences and they're gonna have such major different outcomes. That is not true, guys. You know, you have to literally not just kill yourself once and become a new version of yourself. You have to do that every day. You have to do that every week. You have to do that every month. You have to do that every year. You have to do that every 3 years, to the point where there's going to be subtle grains of obviously your authenticity, which is your roots that are deep in you. But from a front cover on how you look, from how you operate, from how you communicate, you have to be a different human. From how you spend your time, from how you spend your energy, from how you're self-aware. It can't be recognizable. If you are still recognizable and doing things you were doing a year ago, that's exactly why you aren't where you want to be. I hear guys say to me all the time, Tom, you know, I really want to grow my business, or I really want to get in crazy shape, and yeah, I've got this, and guys who I honestly know have huge dreams. Like, no, guys who, in terms of from an imagination level, I'm a big visionary guy, that's in my blood. But these guys have the same level of visionary, but they just can't compress it to transfer this knowledge and vision into action and results because of their habits, of their inputs. And guys, you've got to be very realistic with the season you're in, and you've got to go all in on killing yourself. Like right now, if you are still looking average, you've still got little love handles, you're still working in a 9 to 5, or even if you're online but you're doing less than $5,000 a month, you've got no element of freedom still yet, guys. There's a lot of work to do, and don't fall into the trap of thinking that you can just keep being the same you, and now all of a sudden you're going to be this guy who is just shredded, who's respected by everybody, who's an authoritative figure in an industry, who's making 20, 30, 50K plus per month and can do whatever, network with whoever, attract the best chick. Like, that won't happen unless you are a completely different human. So you need to start by realistically stripping back everything. If you're in a relationship right now and you are going out on a Friday or a Saturday night and you're going round to the local pub or to the local bar because your girl's saying she wants to do this with her friends and you're still going, that's got to go. Like, this is a retarded version of you that's trying to blend in to be normal to society, but yet you're trying to have unnormal results. This fear of being not perceived as normal, or letting your girl down, or letting your friends down, or letting your family down because you're not normal to society, you've got to remove fear. And the only way to remove fear, guys, is have faith in that everything you're going to do is going to work, and you will pay the sacrifice. And the reality is, when you're in this chapter you're in right now, you've got a good 3-year season where you have to say, I'm going to strip back everything. Now, one thing I will say is balance comes back. balance really does come back. You know, like me now, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I've been working a few hours, but like today, like I could go and do anything I want. Now I don't, because for me, working is like Xbox. I'm addicted to working. You know, I was in bed like last night, and it was like 10 p.m. and I was like, want to go play with work again. And I come down and I'm back on all the screens. And for me, I love it, but I do have that element of balance. If I want to go do something whenever, I can go and do it. For me, I actually don't like that because I don't like the distraction and loss of focus. But at the very start, and I'll also caveat that with, at the very start, I weren't like that. I had to force myself to work, and it was a very intrinsic decision to do so. But once you've done so many repetitions and built a habit, and then you've seen the work, the inputs create an output and the rewards, you then don't want to stop because you have this association of winning, these small wins that stack up, that create big wins. You're just like, I want more big wins. But you are going to have to go through a season now where you subtract and you should walk in a room like tomorrow and people are going to be going, you're different, you've changed, you're arrogant, you're delusional. This isn't you. What's happened to you, bro? What's happened? It has to be bang. And then you just have to go and run with that version of yourself. You have to just visualize the highest performer version of you, or if you can't do that, somebody else who is operating where you want to be. And wake up, imagining you are walking around like a video game character and plotting their way around. I guarantee you, if you actually just did that simple mindset model, right now, if you looked at what you're doing with your time, with your energy, scrolling TikTok, going to trash little social things, you would not be where you are. You would just be like, what the hell? Like, for example, would Tom do that? No, fucking Tom wouldn't. But why would you get where Tom would go if you're doing different inputs? Reverse it back, guys. It's not that you become that 10.0 you and then you start acting like him. It's no, you see him, you bring the future to the present, and you operate like him today for 3 months, for 6 months, for 1 year, for 3 years, for 5 years, and then you have the outputs he has. And guess what? When you're there, you're then going to be operating like another version ahead. You can't ever be operating at where you are today. Otherwise, you will only get where you are today forever. You have to be always operating in the future, and that means you have to be conscious and self-aware. Where would the future me be operating? So this is just a little bit of a wake-up call from hindsight. Now I see guys who I know have so much potential. I know talk a big game. I know vision a big game. I know imagine it all. But I still see them with no results. And the only thing is, it's their mindset and it's their fear of other people. And I think it's also just a lack of knowledge around just not really understanding, because they haven't gone through the process on how different a human being you have to become, and that you have to commit to a phase. You really do need to commit to a phase of growth and sacrifice everything, and you earn the rights back. It's no different to dieting, guys. It's like if you're really overweight, you need to hit the meal plan, have no balance, and do that for 6 months, and then you get your body really sensitive. You get to 8 to 10% body fat, you reverse back out, and then now you can throw in the balance, and you can, macro track a little bit easier instead of being so regimented and all of this stuff, because you've earned the rights, and you can eat that burger and still look great. It's no different with your career, guys. And the thing is, you're just burning so much time trying to create this vision, and you're also putting yourself in such a state of anxiety and depression and stress, because intrinsically you're still acting like the old version of you, but you're wanting this bigger thing. And that difference between action and alignment to your goals, that gap is basically an energy space which is only going to be transferred through your body in anxiety and stress. If you want to remove that anxiety and stress, and not only that, achieve your goals, you have to align with that. You have to tap into that frequency. You have to think like them now, not then. You have to think like them now. You have to do what they do now. You have to protect your energy like they do now. You have to spend your time like they do now. And, yes, I don't care if you've been brought up in a little town. So, for example, I know when I was back in the UK, I was from Huddersfield, and I was dating girls around Leicester and Chesterfield and all over. And it was a very standard thing that even if you went to work and you worked hard all week, it would be on the Friday, on the Saturday, you would go out and you go to the bar, and then you might go meet your mates and drive through and sit at Mackey's, even if it was a Coke Zero and a pineapple stick, and you were the healthy guy. Like those, you've got to crush those moments, guys, because you're competing against people that are psychopathic with their goals. You've got to tap into your inner psychopath with your goals, and then you pull the balance back. Right? You can't, like, why, you've got to really just ask yourself this question. Why would a subtly different version of you that pretty much has the same habits, but maybe just now thinks a little bit bigger, why would they just be gifted by the world this crazy, amazing life? No, you won't. You're acting like everybody else. And I think people have an ignorance to how high performers actually act and operate and how they think on a daily basis. And I think a lot of people fall in a trap of being, thinking they're better than they are, and thinking that they think so much better than everyone around them. And look, you can think and have a better imagination, a better mindset. That's what they think, a better vision and a bigger goal and a bigger dream than everyone else in your circle. And people fall in the trap of thinking, yeah, I'm not like my mates, I'm so much further ahead. I'm like, no, you think bigger, fair play, you think bigger, but you're still acting like them, and actions are what create results. And it's not until you do some deep work on the paradigm, on the subconscious mind, expose yourself to real high performers with real results, that you'll start to act like them and get results like them. But right now, you can think big all you want. I promise you can think big all you want, but if you just keep exposing yourself to low performers and acting like low performers with subtle differences, you're just going to be another low performer, no matter how big you think. And then that stress is just going to build up. And, at the end of the day, your goals right now, as much as things take time, your goals right now already exist. And right now, you're just being ignorant to achieving them. It's like, goals are like this, guys. It's like you've got a pool of water and you've got steam, you've got a cloud. You just have to change the vibration. You have to change the frequency. You got to vibrate different. And like that, you could be steam. But just putting in time, but keeping in your same vibration and frequency of thinking, but just acting average, you're going to be water forever. It's not like, oh, there's a definitive, like, after 2 months, you'll turn into steam. No, you could, if like, I've had guys work with me in my elite business program and go from 7 to 40K in days, within the first 30 days. I've had guys get shredded within 8 weeks because we just like snap. Here's the exact blueprint you need to do. Guys go from an idea 0 to 10K in 2 weeks because they've got access to the frequency and how you need to perform, how you need to vibrate, the inputs. So don't think that time's just your friend. Time can be an enemy if you stay in the same version of you. You need to go to bed every single night thinking, am I genuinely better in all of these areas? Physically, am I better? Mentally, am I better? Spiritually, am I better? Financially, am I better? And lifestyle design-wise, am I better? You shouldn't stop sleeping. How the fuck are you sleeping if you are going to sleep knowing that you've not improved in all of those things? And then you got to work it back. Okay, what inputs in those areas of life are the high performers doing? Is the newer version of me doing? It's too easy to think that you're better than everybody else in this world because you're comparing yourself to fucking the lowest perform. Like the whole planet's destroyed, really. Like it's very easy to see with hindsight when you look back how it's sad. Like how low performing the world is. Like don't look at me and think, oh, Tom lives this life, he's got place in Dubai, place in Bali. Like this is normal. This should be very normal. I see myself as less than 1% into where I want to go. There is no reason anybody can't just do what I do like that. And it's just frequency, it's vibration, it's exposure, it's mindset, it's thinking different, it's performing different, it's different inputs, it's getting rid of all fear. If you have fear, you don't have faith, okay? You've got to really go deep on this, guys, but the amount of people who are just completely soaked up by society these days, even when they think they're not, is crazy. If you are not where you want to be, you have the wrong mindset. Stop lying to yourself that your mindset is good. And I'm saying this out of love. I am saying this because I love you. If not, if I didn't love you, I could just, at the end of the day, I've literally got everything 99.999% of guys on the planet would want. Apart from that, like 0.0001% of sharks that are on a crazy level, and that's what I'm hunting for. Like, but for most guys, I've got everything you want. You know, women, network, freedom, lifestyle. I could be, if I want to be in St. Lucia tonight, I'll be in St. Lucia. If I want to be in Dubai in 4 hours, I'll be in Dubai. If I want to be in Australia, I'd be anywhere. And just work when, like, I've got my lifestyle design optimized to fuck, right? But you've got to act like that. You've got to operate like that. And there's no reason any of you guys couldn't have this, but you got to change how you act. You know, stop thinking that because you think bigger than your mates, you've got a great mindset. You don't. You've got the perfect mindset to be exactly where you are right now. You don't ever have a mindset to be bigger than where you are right now. As much as that may hurt a lot of guys' feelings, a lot of people think they already have everything to be ahead in the future. No, you don't. And to know and not to do is not to know. You can have knowledge is in a different part of your mind to the paradigm that actually allows you to achieve goals. And you've got to, the only way you can do that is expose yourself to high performance. I've always had someone on my corner the whole time, and multiple people. You know, I've got a billionaire in my corner right now. All I'm doing is just shutting the fuck up and trying to soak as much information as possible. You know, it's important. It's why our clients do so well in my elite fitness and in my elite business, because not only do we give them the exact blueprints on their fitness, their mindset, and their business, depending on what program and tier they're in, but it's the exposure, whether they're on a one-on-one with me or in the group calls with me. It's exposure to then how we piece all of that together, which is then the application. You know, knowledge is zero with no application and without changing how you see the world through a lens. And don't over-egg yourself with your mindset. All you're going to do is, you know, it's ego. And guys are, you know, I've been guilty of that. I know when I was like 18, 17, you think you know it all, and the more you know and the more you invest in yourself, the less you realize you know. If you actually knew it, you'd already have it, and it's not a case of, oh yeah, I know it, I just need to do it now. That's just a lie you're telling yourself. It's a coping mechanism. You really have to force yourself to become a different version of yourself. It's complete bullshit thinking that you can just be this subtle difference and you're gonna have a crazy different outcome. Crazy different outcomes come from crazy, crazy, crazy different versions of yourself. And don't look at guys who are high performers and think, yeah, we're pretty much this. I've pretty much got a mindset like him. I've pretty much got the inputs like him, but he has a completely different life. That's the biggest lie you've ever told yourself in your life, and everyone's been guilty of it. So have I in the past. They think so differently. They operate so differently. They spend their energy so differently. Their thoughts are so different. Their time management is so different. Their ability to focus, the tasks they work on, their people, their network, the conversation, it's all so different. If you actually were like them, you'd have exactly what they have, I promise you, because as fast as that, water can turn into steam. So it's not that you think the same as them, you're just behind them in a time horizon. No, it's not that. It's the fact that you're just not like them. And it's not that you can't do that. Every single person who got there, it was a learnable skill and it was exposure to higher performers, but it was very conscious. So I'm saying this out of love, but you've got to stop lying to yourself, guys. And you've really got to say, do I really want this life? Right? And if you don't, cool. If you really do, everything has to change like that now, because remember, water and steam within a split second can change if you change the vibration. Right? You've got to start thinking different. You've got to start thinking with different vehicles. Let's go.